Still a mystery when it works.
Oh yeah, I mean, like we don't know. But
So, Anish, what were you saying about when you enter the Pittsburgh airport?
So in the Pittsburgh airport, you are greeted by, and first of all, the Pittsburgh airport is under immense construction. So it is like undergoing a full facelift. And so the
Not unlike yourself.
well, that was a long time ago, and it was just a little Botox, like
a little tight.
Just a little botulism that you inject into the face because it is totally fine to be doing that. So in the Pittsburgh airport, you're greeted by 3 statues. George Washington, because Pittsburgh
and the singing bush
Pittsburgh is apparently apocryphally the furthest west George Washington actually came. So it's just like relax. It's just well, I mean, it's probably
I didn't say a word.
That's probably true
I didn't
too.
Say anything.
That's probably true too.
Yeah.
Go on.
So we've got just like the Midwest. If you look on all of the signs, Illinois is the land of Lincoln.
Yes.
I think Kentucky is the birthplace of Lincoln, and Indiana is Lincoln's childhood home. Like, none of this makes sense. So Pittsburgh claims the furthest west that George Washington ever
That is a weird
appeared.
claim, and so much so that they put a statue of him in.
It's so weird. We have a mount. So the hill that you see all of the pictures of the Pittsburgh kind of meeting of the rivers is called Mount Washington because again,
how tall is Mount Washington?
I mean, he's
7 feet above sea level.
Yeah, exactly, 6'10". That's how long. Patrick came here for the history lesson.
I know, I love that. That's great.
First of all, this is an airport lesson.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you land at the Pittsburgh airport. You have 3 statues: statue of George Washington, a Pittsburgh Steeler. It's a lineman. He is in a 3-point stance. I don't know if he's rushing or protecting. I should.
It's got to be one of the steel curtain, doesn't it?
That's what I figured.
But Joe Green would be my guess.
So I figured it was Joe. I figured.
Gotta be.
But this doesn't coalesce with my headcanon. The 3rd statue is a Brontosaurus. Why? I don't know. Why they picked a dinosaur at all? I'm not entirely sure.
Were dinosaurs a big thing in Pittsburgh?
At one point, yeah.
Was the Jurassic Park set there?
I mean, like at one point, dinosaurs were
one of my favorite things about
roaming the earth.
The things that cities do. Philly is one of my favorites because the thing they were most proud of was a statue of a fictional athlete. Remember, they had the Rocky statue. That statue was really there. Yeah. Like, I think some people don't realize it. They think that's a movie thing. It was really there, and they were so proud of it. It's like
weird. the natural history.
I know he was white. But
the Natural History Museum here has a gigantic Brontosaurus who has a name that I probably should know because I walk past it every day at work.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to call him Bronte for now, which is a safe bet for
LeBronte.
LeBronte, there you go. We got there. And so I think that George Washington, obviously the quarterback. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's Joe Green. I think you're right, Joe Green.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
That's got to be. He's iconic.
But that doesn't line up with him. You can't have Joe Green tackling George Washington. That's not patriotic at all.
People in Pittsburgh probably think he could tackle a Brontosaurus, though.
Exactly. So the Brontosaurus is rushing,
he's the defender.
And Joe Green is protecting.
He's rushing? Like he's got the hammer and
yes,
sickle?
So
now there's a patriotic thing. I like that.
That's right.
It's like Ivan Drago. Yeah, it's like he's got the haircut.
Did someone just fall down the stairs? What was that?
It's great. I just love that.
Wait a minute. So welcome to the Bold Sports Handsome Hour. We're doing all we can to talk about anything but the subject matter at hand, and it's still only September 23rd.
I want to shout out the Noodle here. The Noodle says Cincinnati has a Mount Washington about 3 miles from his house. Cincinnati, in every single way, is a miniature pocket version of Pittsburgh. Everything to the the conflation of the rivers, to the people. To actually it being a cool town, but everybody enjoys kind of dumping
Pittsburgh
on it.
Pittsburgh has a famous sandwich. Right, the thing that has all the stuff stuffed in it.
The Primanti's, the
Manny Brothers, right?
The French fries on the sandwich.
Yeah. But what's Cincinnati's famous little sandwich then?
I mean it's Skyline.
Chili?
It's the Skyline. We'll ask our friend Dylan, but
you know who loves to rip on Cincinnati chili is Michael. I love it. He hates it so much.
So good.
I've never
because he doesn't rip on things like that, which is awesome. But
it's so great.
I've never had Cincinnati chili.
I like
I've never had Skyline.
I like it.
It just doesn't look very.
No, it looks horrible.
Okay.
I love.
No, what you got to do? You got to thought was it the 3-way with the cheese? They have this amazingly. That's what they call it. The amazingly fluffy. I don't know how you make cheese fluffy, but you get that with the little tiny wiener, then I feel very, very comfortable with it in my hands. I don't know why.
I'd like to, if we're gonna, Adam P. If you scroll back a little bit in the comments, Anish, Adam P. has a question. The one that starts with "Good evening, gents." Anish, this past weekend hopefully gave you a bit more data to determine where Purdue is headed. Do you need more data at this point? Now, first of all, I want to
thank you.
In a warm hug.
No, I did not.
Both want to hug him because this was so great. Because last week Anish said, "I don't know." Actually,
I don't know yet. I don't know.
Hey, turns out I know now. Purdue's bad. Purdue's bad, brother.
Bad, yeah.
It's bad. I mean, like, you could blame injuries. You can talk about that, but it's like,
I can't blame it.
Yeah, it's bad. I got the data. The data came back.
The data. It was just waiting for a week to get it returned.
Yeah, it was a little bit slow.
Turd burger.
But like, it's not ideal.
Greg McManus, that's a great comment.
Is he the same? What does he say?
3-way with a tiny wiener. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I said. The 3-way part, it makes me uncomfortable.
He says something must be wrong with my feed because Boiler Dad isn't at 120 decibels.
Yeah, so I think I figured out how I have to do that. I have to turn my input volume on my computer down to like nothing. Oddly enough, though, I only can hear you guys at one loudness, and that's really loud. Oh. So I have literally, if I turn it down at all, you guys are silent. That's what was happening when I was trying to take it. So it's ridiculous. So hey, we were talking about fictitious. You said the Rocky character statue being in front of Philadelphia. Yeah. What building is that?
It was in front of the. It's in front of their natural. Was it Natural History Museum? It was in front of a museum. The stairs he runs up is a museum. I know that. They moved it. It's not up there now. It's now in like a park or something. Okay,
there's two things that I think of that are like this. And before we get into the real reason everybody came here to talk about how much of a train wreck Purdue is right now. But before we do that, we're going to delay a little bit longer. First thing, I've been to Scotland, and there's a statue of Mel Gibson as Braveheart. Not a joke. That is super tall. Like it's like 70 feet tall.
Excellent.
But it's Mel Gibson as Braveheart. Because I saw the statue, I was like, whoa, he looked like Gibson? And they're like, no, it's a statue.
That's Mel Gibson.
It's Gibson. And I was like,
I know
holy moly.
I know that was from a little bit longer ago than this, but like that would be like in India if you put up a statue of Gandhi, except it's Ben Kingsley.
Exactly. So good. Oh, goodness. Hey, wait. Not even Indian. And then, okay, so the other one that I think of, and this is a little closer to home for Anish and I, why do they don't do it anymore, but the Pacers, when they were in Hickory jerseys, always made me laugh.
So everybody has a rant that
You're
they
all the
can.
Same in Indiana, though, right?
Everybody has a rant that they can go on.
Right.
Like at the drop of a hat. The rant that I can go, a 10-minute rant that I can go on instantly, not like I do this every week on the Handsome Hour, every Monday at 9 p.m. ish. It's the Hickory jerseys into ignoring Crispus Attucks being the actual high school that they should be honoring, into Oscar Robertson is the greatest basketball player from the state of Indiana and the most underrated great basketball player of all
Nobody
time.
Ever talks about Oscar Robertson.
He
at all levels.
Every record that was just broken by LeBron James and Russell Westbrook and like all of these dudes.
Right. The triple-double stuff.
They were all Oscar Robertson records. He had the greatest high school career until Kareem. He had the greatest college career until Kareem. He won a title with Kareem, which is cool, an NBA title with Kareem, and
broke racial barriers too.
And he had one of the 10, 15 greatest NBA careers of all time. He is the greatest basketball player to come out of the state of Indiana, and instead what we do is the version of honoring Rocky, not Rocky Marciano, like Rocky, like the fake
Balboa.
character Rocky Balboa, not even the real Rocky that's from Philadelphia. We honor the Hickory jerseys, which is awful.
I'm glad that's a terrible look too.
It's
gold
so
shorts and red. I thought you liked those.
No,
I
hate
to hear
them.
this. You like everything about the NBA and everything about the Pacers.
No,
so I was shocked.
there was such a bet and the Crispus Attucks jerseys. First, they're the Crispus Attucks Tigers. They are green and orange.
I'm sorry, the actual school was Crispus Attucks or the school?
Crispus Attucks,
that was Oscar. That was Oscar Robertson's high school, and it is the oldest historically black high school.
No, he thinks so. What he's saying, the real high school in
Milan.
Milan. That's the one that was
they beat Crispus Attucks High School.
That's what I'm getting.
Hoosiers
is get it. Yeah.
Hoosiers is also a bad movie.
No, Milan was not an all-black school. If that's what you're asking.
No,
okay.
Right.
They didn't change
a hell of a
that.
creative license.
Exactly.
Like,
that's a lot.
Little engine that could.
Right. Look at them go. No, but they went through. Yeah, they went through Crispus Attucks, which was Ben Davis someplace along the line too. Ben Davis has been a power forever.
Yeah.
So, So
this has been the Hanson
salute to
Hour.
Milan High School.
It's good to. I mean, I think that's all we have, right?
Yep.
That's it. Good week, guys.
Love you guys. Good night.
Basketball is practicing and it's fine. I think Matt Painter found another 13-year-old 7'3" guy. It's all good.
That was funny. So I watched a lot of poor audio quality pressers in the last about 4 hours because I worked until right up before this. And mercy, we got to do something about our audio quality in the Purdue family. Holy moly. I know Golden Black is trying now since Derek Schultz is involved. It's great. It's great to hear, great to see. But boy, the pressers are so bad. It's like this. We're gonna have questions for Coach Walters. Coach. And I'm like, I don't understand a thing. I'm trying to pick it up so I can see. All I could see is he was not a very happy guy after the game. Not doing very well.
No.
Yeah.
He's not. It's not delightful.
No.
Yeah.
No,
So
this is rough.
Back to the question: do you have enough data? What say you now?
I have enough data to say that, one, this is a bad team, especially with all of the injuries, especially to the pass catchers. This is a bad pass catching group. Like, I think there is only 1.5 reliable targets. Morset
Morset's been solid.
One of them from Georgia, the one that's actually playing.
So we've got a friend of BS though, and I'm gonna mention her now because I've kind of kept her. I haven't gone into her identity, but Rigsby's mom.
So Rigsby,
and he hasn't been given chances. I agree with mom.
He's the one,
I agree with mom completely. Give the guy a chance.
Well, he was the one that we were hearing a lot of, and it's not like I don't think Walters is generally positive, but also he's not like during the off season, but he also doesn't really go out of his way to praise individual players. And he was the one player that was like, he is way above, way ahead of schedule. We are expecting big things, and it just hasn't seemed like there's been much chances for him. Max Claire has been good, but it's like when you have one tight end, and last week it was that the protection wasn't happening. This week it was just like, everything from the play calling to the
57
timing.
Yards passing, guys.
30 through the third quarter? Like, what are we doing? Like single digit pass attempts?
One pass was completed, right? The thing that
we're not really known for passing the ball.
No, there's a thing that's blowing my mind too, and Golden Black talked about this. This is a great factoid that just kills me. 3 third down conversions in 2 games. Guys, what in the hell you could trip into some third down conversions, right. And that's the bad thing is the offensive line was doing their job putting them in like 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. It wasn't like the Notre Dame game where it was like 3rd a mile every time.
And the running game,
looks good.
We got Greg McManus here talking, just data says just let Devin and Reggie run. The problem, though, is that when you immediately go down 14-0 or whatever it was, 7-0, and then you have that, I
think they were down 14-0
They were down 14 and
early
then they scored, and then they scored, I think, on that drive. But when you go first, when you have that fumble, like on the bad handoff in the first drive, and the second you have this unbelievable fluke that can only happen to Purdue. The pick six, first it was, Boiler Dad, you were right. It was a bad decision to kind of throw through that line.
But it was still incredibly unlucky.
But he tipped it. It was just out to the flat. He tipped it, went off of Love's shin,
ankle,
whatever,
calf, maybe.
Right.
Like the heel. It could have been his heel because he kicked
and then
it back
bounced
up.
back. And so it's like, but when you immediately go down like that, you can't rely on the run. You know, and that's what Graham Harrell's offense. We've got a 2-year track record, or not 2 years, but we've got 13 games now. Like, the strength is the running game.
Yeah.
Which is not what we thought, but that's okay.
But it was the strength of the running. Well, the strength was the running game all last season too, right?
And it's okay. So it's good, but that it comes at the cost of everything else. There's no real creativity when it comes to through the air. And so
There's no real creativity. There's no real creativity.
I will say I have enough data. I have enough data to say, man, I was pushing back all year last year on the Graham Harrell stuff, and I didn't know, and I thought it was
Me being a jerk.
I was just like,
it's okay. A lot of people think that
it's a little bit knee-jerk reaction.
No, right? but you came around on Harrell a little at the end.
I liked the way he was calling. He was calling games well at the end. Like, you're like, okay,
wait till the season's pretty much over.
But then he forgot about it. That's the crazy thing.
In the off season,
what did I do?
The off season he was the main guy. If you read all the stories, it was they handed him a Purdue shirt and he went to Texas to go recruit Hudson Card. Right? They both. Right. So it seems like they came as like and not a package deal, but it's like, you know, if you were on the fence, if Walters was on the fence about Harrell in the off season, it's like, if you're bringing back Card, you showed good. You showed something great. You showed something. I think thank you, Noodle. The Noodle says I'm wearing a beret. No, this is just a beautiful head of hair. This is just, you're just jealous. Just because you're follically challenged.
Yes.
I'd rather talk about this than the game, because it's like
sidebars are good.
You came around at the end. Because it's like, the last 3.5 games of last season, like, you saw that up, and for one real week of prep, or one real off season of prep, you would think that there would be some step forward, or at least some more creativity. Even if it doesn't translate into yards, you want to see the concepts. Like, that's what I'm looking for, and that's the thing that it's like. I'm a big process over results guy. So if you see a good process, if you see something that should work, like, keep trying. It is worth it. There is no process here. There's no like seeds of creativity or anything. And so it's like, I think I have enough data there that, I don't buy into all of the rest of the hysteria, but this is not a great team as of right now. Like, it's playing right now. It's got the capability of being fine, but it's not a great team. It's not a good team. And that offense, there is no reason to feel like there is any kind of, reason to believe there. And you'd need to see more. Like, they would have to show something against Nebraska for me to really.
Well, there's more bad news out of Nebraska is tough until the end of the games. And then they're unusually not tough. I don't know what happened in that Illinois game. Thank you. More bad news. What am I going to say?
Dr. Adam B says he's going to think about the beret comment. Now I'm self-conscious. Now I'm going to be fluffing my hair all podcast.
Dude, you're so lucky to have a beret on your head.
I know.
So just savor it. And you'll never lose your hair. Your dad still got his hair. So
we're strong follicled people.
Yeah.
What's that? Don't leave us hanging. What's the more bad news? I can't wait.
More bad news is that CJ Smith is out for a lot longer, it sounds like, because as Walters was down and out during his pressers, I don't know if it was the post game. I think it was Monday. It was today's presser. He pretty much said, yeah, he's going to be out for a while. And so that hamstring is nagging him pretty badly. So I heard somebody say something. I don't know if it was on the Golden Blackboard or if it was on Twitter, and they called the majority of the Georgia players vaporware, which I thought was hilarious.
That's mean.
It's mean and it's funny at the same time, because we've seen Madden play for what, 5 downs?
Yeah, not much,
right? And Smith and the corner, Green,
Green, not Green,
haven't played it down, and so that's It's and Tom Diener, by the way, I'm the first to give Tom Diener a hard time, but he's had some excellent points. And one of his best points he's had, maybe Tom Diener needs a little angst in him. Maybe that's when when he turns on his Boiler Dowd side, when he's a little critical, he gets pretty darn profound. But one thing he said was, we've all talked about Jamal Edrin as the number one receiver and CJ Smith as the number two receiver. I was guilty of just saying that in the post game. But what proof do we have? Right? Edrin has been so limited because of injuries for 2 seasons now. And Smith, we haven't really even seen him. So the thing that he followed up with as well is it's a real opportunity for these other guys. But Hudson Card has to, number one, throw the forward pass. It's not that he can't, Jay. I know you love him. And I know that he's a good passer. It's not that he can't throw the pass.
That's the baffling part about
it. It doesn't make any sense, right? You look at you're like the guy can throw the ball.
I think that's the least. Sorry, go ahead. You have a thought.
But the next part is you have to call plays that allow him to throw passes. Because in the Notre Dame game, everybody was shell shocked because every time Hud would take a 2-step drop, he'd be hit. In this game, you didn't really have that issue. The O-line was doing their job. What a massive improvement from Notre Dame to Oregon State for Purdue's offensive line. So great job for the offensive line coach. I said it last week, and I would actually stand by this. I think I literally have asked multiple people, have I been too hard on the assistant coaches, too hard on the coaching staff? And I've had multiple people say, you haven't been hard enough. And I know that you're harder on them behind closed doors than you are when you're recording. That's true. It's by design. But the big thing that I think of when I say there really has to be accountability, the whole thing you start saying is, guys, we're all going to be dead in the water if we don't start innovating. That's the problem, right? And so if you don't hold somebody accountable and kind of scare them into it, it feels to me like Walter's almost like, well, I know we're not doing great, but we're all trying to do great. And I'm like, this after school special stuff doesn't work in this level. This is really high level business. This is tough. Accountability is needed. And then I'm going to go back to Babinski, who I think has done such a brilliant job with so many things. But man, if things don't clean up quickly in this Walters era, he's going to be remembered for this hire. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough, gloomy cloud over a very, very successful tenure. Mm-hmm. It might be overly critical.
No, it's absolutely true. And I think, I guess one of the things that I keep thinking about is they had so much momentum with the fan base, with how hungry the fans were. Like a couple 9-win seasons at the end of the Brom tenure, getting to a Big Ten championship game. And then everyone was excited by that. At first, few people were like, oh, wow, this unproven guy who's never coached before. And then everybody liked his energy and everybody got kind of excited. And then they went 4-8 and people were still filling the place.
Right.
Like the IU game, we were all there and it was a good vibe in there for a 3-8 team.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we all looked at that like, oh, just build on this. You were a couple breaks away from being a 5 or 6 win team. Now be that 5 or 6 win team. And that's all we agreed at the start of the season. If you were 5 or 6 wins this year, everyone would have been thrilled. With that schedule, people would have been like, you would have kept that momentum rolling. And
I even would say, I'd even say you don't, at the risk of saying this, you don't need the wins at this stage.
Look prepared.
Show concept, be creative. Show this type of energy. And it's like
for several eras, you don't even. Eventually you have to win.
Exactly.
But if you're doing inventive, creative, energizing stuff and trying. You're flinging the ball. You're trying different things. You have misdirection. You're trying to tip the scales here a little bit when you've got a personnel disadvantage against a team like Notre Dame or Michigan or Oregon. Then that's what fans love.
So there's a chicken or an egg thing here happening. Okay, let me do 2 things. First off, Jay, you talk about creativity, keeping fans happy. Let's go back. Wayback Machine to Hope's first season. And I just was, you guys saw, I did all that analysis of other seasons, other coaches, how they started, that sort of thing. And I'm not going to bring that on here right now. But we all talked about this morning. But one thing Hope did first season, he had a very inspired season, right? That was the year where they lost in overtime to Oregon at Ross-Ade, right? And that game, if you remember, there was a Keith Smith threw is it Keith Smith? That threw a receiver pass, or am I thinking of somebody else? No, I'm too.
Oregon at home was Tiller's last year, wasn't it? And then they went up to Oregon and Hope's
that was
year,
at Oregon.
By 2.
Yeah, so this one was at.
They lost by 2 at Oregon.
Okay, so that one had a creative pass.
That game was awesome.
Yeah. Very creative play calling.
Keith Smith,
right?
If we're just naming dudes, for a second,
who was the one who didn't get his foot down in the end zone, right? And you remember this?
Yeah.
Who was the tight end? Who didn't get his foot? The reason they lost 38-36.
Yeah. Keith Smith.
No, he wasn't a tight end.
Or he was a
big wideout. He was a big wideout, a quarterback turned wideout.
Oh, I remember.
And they used him on in the motion, and he threw the ball right out of the. He was a flanker in the position.
But your point is they used
creative stuff, and they almost got there. Right, they were close to a bowl game. Right, and if you remember back, Hope's team dropped way off second year. Right, they lost 6 straight games to end that season. Third year, they weren't. The creativity was almost gone. It's almost like Purdue had shuffled the coaches enough that the old Joe Tiller era was washed clean, right? You lost the Duke too, Jay. That's a big thing. The Duke. The Duke. Yes. But you lost Joey Elliott. And Joey Elliott was kind of how do we call this? If it's not magic in a bottle, what's a softer version of like it was like just kind of, it was fun. And you're like 1 year of starting, you can see Elliott play, and he was pretty solid, right? Pretty solid. I think he got a look in the NFL because of that 1 year.
He's good size. He looks like
good size. He looked the part.
You said it wasn't lightning in a bottle. It was like
it's magic in a bottle, I guess. Not lightning. It was just kind of
it's like a lightning bug in a bottle.
Lightning bug in a bottle. That's good.
There
you go. See, we this is teamwork. Lightning bug in a bottle. Joey the Duke Elliott. But the creativity went away, and then Purdue stopped competing against good teams, and that really, really killed all the goodwill, right? So if you look at what happens as goodwill goes away and people start getting more critical, what you really want to see is you want to see that they're trying to shrink the differential between their team and the other team, right? Hope did not do that. Good teams came in and beat the hell out of Hope teams.
Yep.
Not great teams, but good teams at the end. And that was part of look, they got to a bowl game and it still canned because nobody was in the stands. Right? And I'll go to the next step. Now let's bring it up to today, okay? Good friend of mine, he travels from a long way to come to these games, and he said to me just recently, Jay, you're going to like this story. It's going to sound familiar to you. He said just recently to me, I'm not coming to that game now. It's a lot of work to come to these games. It's expensive, takes a lot of time. And you know what? I'm not coming to that game now. We're still going to come to the others. But guess what? The economic impact of that really wealthy friend not coming in to God's country for that weekend, for that game.
Are you just talking about me?
What? No.
You had me going for a while. I thought you were talking about
that was the whole bit. That was the whole thing. Telling you a story about you.
And I'm like, I
like this guy.
I like this guy.
I want to meet this guy. You know this guy, Jay.
Kyle Adams was the tight end.
Kyle Adams. Yeah,
I had to look it up. Keith Smith. We got to name some dudes from this team. Let me tell you.
Right.
We're just naming. This is 38-36, Oregon won at home against our Fighting Boilermakers. Joey Elliott, you were right. Keith Smith did throw a pass. We all remember that. That was that game.
Great use of brain cells.
All this Ralphie Bolden was the running back.
Dude, Ralph Bolden was my favorite could-have-been guy ever. When he signed with Purdue, I was like, oh my gosh. And then he was at Toledo, where he just went off for 220 yards rushing. I was like, oh my gosh, it's coming. It's happening. He blew out his knee twice, right?
123 yards.
Yes.
Rushing, 2 touchdowns.
Love Ralph Bolden. Ralph Bolden, an Atlanta area product, if I'm remembering correctly, which is awesome.
Why?
Who the hell knows?
Why?
I don't know. It's not. Back then I cared about recruiting. Now all of the rules and all every bad juju has made me say, recruiting. No,
the
thanks.
wide receivers, Aaron Valentine. Valentine.
Yes. 17, Aaron Valentine.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yes, you remember Keith Smith, Kyle Adams, Keith Carlos. Shout out to Keith Carlos, Cortez Smith, Jeff Lindsay, and my guy Carson Wiggs.
Wait, did you say Keith Carlos? Okay, so Keith Carlos. Literally a good-looking wide receiver. Bill always say that on the field. No, good-looking man. He became a model.
Yes, straight-up model.
Wild stuff right there.
Because we're beautiful here in
West
Lafayette.
Yeah. I think I sent you like a picture. Like I was like, dude, what happened? He leaves Purdue and literally.
By the way,
gorgeous.
I'm looking at that season.
Beautiful
now,
man.
Too, since we're hitting the Wayback Machine.
What are we doing? What are we going to do? Talk about this?
Well, this is one of my favorite. You talk about how some things change, some things stay the same. So they started that year. We all remember 1-5. That Oregon game was the first loss. They lost a bunch of tough games, and then they beat number 7 Ohio State at home. Right? They won 4 of their last 6 to finish 5-7. Right?
Yeah.
And in the midst of that, but they won 26-18 over Ohio State. They won 24-14 over Illinois. They won at Michigan 38-36.
Which nobody wins at Michigan.
And they lost
Purdue coach does that.
State. What killed their bowl chances, they lost at a good Michigan State team. I'm sorry, it was at home against Michigan State. They lost 40-37. Okay, in the midst of all that, they went to Wisconsin.
D'Antonio team, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
In the midst of all that, they went to Wisconsin
and
lost 37-0.
Screw you, Wisconsin.
Forever. Some things change.
One thing that never doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So today, I played in a work golf event today, and the guy in my group, who I didn't know, was a guy from my company, but I didn't know. He comes walking up, and he's got a Wisconsin quarter zip on, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be fun." And he goes, "Oh man," he goes, "just get ready to get yourselves a win in a couple weeks. We're terrible." I was like, "Have you watched football for the last 20 or 30 years? You're really chalking that up? The one guaranteed game on the schedule for both teams is Wisconsin.
They're pretty embarrassed because they're not what Wisconsin usually is right now, right? And we all saw this. This is one of those things, by the way. This is one of those things that this was coming, right? This is the third season for Fickle, or second? Third.
Second. No, I think
it's second. Okay, so second. Last year, he was moving away from the traditional.
Oh yeah, he wanted to make them in his
pound the ground, right? He was doing stuff with the offense. You're like,
Phil Longo is the type of offensive coordinator that Purdue would have hired.
He would have been. He's a better fit, guy, right?
He's an air raid guy. Yeah.
Air raid, yeah.
You mean like air raid, like running the ball all the time and passing it 17 times a game?
They're all
that
different
type of
flavors. It's like
there's different types of
31 flavors of ice cream.
Air raid.
So my brother coined a term that I hope you guys all love.
Oh, it's on the title right now.
Okay, good. Air raid. It's so good. So perfect. Gosh darn it.
And that's, again, it's schematic. It's schematic. It's not the players, even though there were players that dropped some passes. But it's like it's just the.
So let's get back to that. You were talking about disappointment with the receivers. Now, remember, I think 10 or 12 different guys caught passes against Indiana State, and I know it's Indiana State, but I don't think I'm not ready to even say or largely say I don't think this is a lack of talent.
I don't either.
That's why it's baffling. That's why.
And I'll also say all the people comparing it to the Hazel era when they really had a lack of talent. This team has so much more talent. And then I saw a comment way back. Somebody said something about they're lined up for a 1-11 season. They're not going to go 1-11. They're going to. And you said this on one of your wrap ups or one of your quick casts. You said there's going to be a day where they put it all together because they're not that.
Michigan State and Northwestern. Those are the games that you're.
Well, if they do it against one of them, they're going to win comfortably.
Yeah,
but they could put it together. Honestly, I'm not just saying this to give everybody hope. They could put it together this weekend, and it wouldn't entirely shock me because they have the talent.
It's not exactly. But it just is like, you have to see something, right? And I am at the point where it's like, this is like you aren't your talent, you are your scheme and your execution. And at this point, and even, and I know that a lot of people were being hard on the defense, and for good reason, 300 yards rushing or whatever. But I think for 2.5 quarters, that defense it wasn't ideal, it wasn't perfect, but it looked good enough. That was a good enough defensive performance for about 2.5 quarters where they were constantly on the field, constantly being hit in the mouth, where they held up pretty well. Now, the one glaring thing was the pitch option, where it was just like it was that half a second of hesitation. I don't even think that it's a problem. I know that Boyd, you were talking about the Thieneman, Thieneman's getting the assignment. I don't even think that's the problem. It really is just like, who is the linebacker getting? Who is the end getting or the linebacker getting, and who is
no. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why it is Thieneman. It's not Thieneman's fault,
but it's the
scheme's fault. Because if you can't watch the option, go back. I challenge everyone to watch the plays, even if you're not a big football X's and O's guys. Just watch it. There aren't enough bodies there, and I kept saying.
Right.
At the beginning, I said, play a sound football. You'll be fine today, because I don't think Oregon State is an impressive team. I'm going to stick on that.
Oh, yeah.
But
agreed.
Purdue, by the way, they had assignment sound football. As those plays stretched out, Guys did what they're supposed to do. And then you had maybe the linebacker stretching down the line. He said, okay, look, I have to make a decision. I'm going to go get the quarterback. He goes get the quarterback. There's nobody out there to get the running back because Thieneman's still coming in. Not because Thieneman's too slow, because Thieneman's 27 yards away.
But in that scheme, if you know you're going to play that, then what you do is you have your assignment. The linebacker gets the outside. No matter who you're forcing the play towards the inside, the linebacker has the outside. Even if you give up a couple yards, you're not bringing.
But man defense though.
No,
the safety has to get the quarterback, right? I mean, that's the way it's going to work, right?
And so that I understand, but like usually you've got the trail on the out. So usually you've got the running back like on the outside, right? So the linebacker trails.
There are no bodies out there. That's the thing. There's just no bodies out there.
And it's the problem is the linebackers who are great. I think we were skeptical of the linebackers. I think they are good pass rushers. They are very good pass rushing scheme. But
the best linebacker isn't a linebacker.
Well,
now.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I think it's such a problem. If you want to see drastic, will help. I mean, I like these guys.
KJ,
So let's move KJ back to the line. Just make that change because he played great. He had all the tackles. He still is a half step slow at the linebacker position.
And especially,
and it may hurt his draft stock, but his draft stock's not going to be worth a damn if he doesn't get any tape to show anybody because he's in the wrong position.
So to your point, the problem there is the 3 down linemen, right? So 3 down linemen, you got 2 outside linebackers. They are your rush end, so it's always help.
It's so silly the way they call this, right? Because the 2 rush ends, they're linebackers. They're not. They're defensive ends.
They're rush end. So one of them is rushing, one of them is in coverage.
Yeah.
But you will always flip it towards whoever you're trying to attack, and you run the option kind of that way. By the way, Dylan Raiola is going to come into Ross Aid next week, and that's what's going to be run.
Right.
And so
you think Matt Rule has ever seen a defense as exotic as Purdue's? Wow. What's he gonna do? Oh my gosh.
And again, I don't mind it as long as there are rules that you're following. As long as there's a scheme that you're following and an execution that you're following, I don't mind it. Again, if you're going to stick with Thieneman in the back, have him attack the quarterback and have the linebacker commit to the running back. It's like playing a pick and roll zone. It's like playing a pick and roll defense. You know what your actions are, and if you're going to give up the mid range, give it up. But But
think about though, if you say we're getting to super nerdy stuff. But if you're saying you're going to have the safety just say commit to the quarterback from that far away, that's fine. That means the linebacker has to commit to saying you go get that running back, right? Now the quarterback's probably going to get 7 or 8 yards.
You're giving up the mid range in that, right? I understand.
I mean, that's mid range. That's a long mid range, right?
Did you hear Ryan Leaf, analyst Ryan Leaf?
Oh my god.
Well, first of all, Anish actually disliked
I don't care about announcers.
See, this is the thing. There's only a couple guys who really bother me. They didn't bother me. I didn't really care.
He actually knew some Purdue history, which I was shocked at.
Well, they talked about the Thieneman setup almost like they knew people were like wondering where the hell the 11th defender was. They talked about him being back there, and I guess they talked to the coaching staff during the week because they said, well, if a lot of times that guy's going to be up more, but he's going to be backpedaling, then why not just put him 20 yards downfield and let him come forwards? Well, there's a reason, right? Isn't the reason, and I'm not a football coach, but isn't the reason what you're presenting to the offense and what they're seeing? If he's way back there, you know where he is, and he's not going backwards from there. He's only coming forwards. If he's up, right, and he could go backwards or forwards, doesn't that change things a little? Doesn't that change what you're going to do offensively?
And again, in terms of scheme, I don't mind it because your theory here.
I mind this scheme a lot, and I'm minding it more with every week.
So there are 2 things here. One is like the scheme idea is your corners take care of business.
That's asking a lot now, right?
No. I'm just talking about scheme. I'm not talking about fit to personnel, which is the second point. So the scheme is corners taking care of business.
Time out real quick, though, before you go any further. Let's think about this idea. Because what you're saying is you like the scheme if the personnel can execute.
I'll get there.
That's like saying, okay, let's put Joey Elliott, and he's going to run the
Mahomes offense. Yeah.
Right.
No. So that's where I'm getting.
Yeah.
So you've got your corners that take care of business. You've got the deep safety he is absolutely capable of, playing the ball, basically, like attacking the ball, no matter where it is. What you need is 3.5 rushers that can put pressure on the quarterback, and you need in this scheme, you need your linebackers to be able to contain. The part that we're missing,
that's asking a lot.
The part that we're missing right now is I think we've got 5 people that can rush really well. Basically, what we are playing is a 5-2. Right. You know what I mean? So like instead of 3-3-5, basically, you're playing or if you want to kind of count the one super deep back, what we're doing is we're playing 6 rushers and only 2 linebackers, and the linebackers are stacked on the inside. They're not even kind of coming from out, right? So you're that soft spot, which is where Oregon State,
which is all over the field.
That soft spot is where they were attacking over and over and over again.
So somebody did an analysis. I don't know where. Again, I've read a little bit last couple of days. There were fans doing analysis of Walter's previous stops at both Illinois and Missouri and the way he ran his defenses. They said he did not run the deep drop safety all the time. And I can't corroborate this. I really don't know the answer to this. I would say if he ran this defense and it was that effective at Illinois, I got to say they must have had just supermen all over the field. But all I understand is they had 2 pros on that team, right? Am I wrong about that?
A corner and a rush,
an
tackle.
End.
They're big defensive tackle. No,
okay, tackle.
That dude was a monster.
Yes, but he's in the league. So you get 2 guys that are really exemplary, fantastic football players, and you could still run the same system. And I'm like, man, I don't think so. To me, if you're going to do that, you got to have...
Fit to personnel is now that I like this scheme. I like that it forces attacks. I like that it forces accountability. The problem is if you run it without the players, if the players are in the wrong position, or if they don't have the current development to, and they're still adjusting to it, you have to adjust your scheme to your players. And that's the thing on defense that I'm not seeing. Again, I like this. That show me concept, and I'm fine with it. The defensive concepts, it's interesting, and I enjoy it. It's interesting in certain points of it. It's attacking. The first 2.5 quarters were tough. I don't mind it. But the problem happens when you don't adjust to your personnel. And that is the part that kills me here. And so I'm hoping that is kind of something that we see, an adjustment at least on defense. The one thing I also noticed is that Walters isn't calling the defense anymore. That was the adjustment mid-season that really made a difference last year. And it's gone back to Kane calling the defense from up high this year, and Walters doesn't have the play sheet. I think he tried to, I think he gave some quotes this summer where he was trying to willingly take his hand, like he wasn't trying to be the micromanaging.
They've given up 104 points in 2 weeks.
But that's the thing, and the again, I'm perfectly willing to throw the Notre Dame game out, but there was nothing. The Oregon State game was just like a game full of missed opportunities. So it's just brutal. It was just absolutely, that part was just like, that was a game that could have been won, that probably should have been won. I don't think Oregon State, I like Oregon State. I like Oregon State as a program. I think that despite they got talking about Purdue getting raided by the transfer portal. I mean, Oregon State got absolutely raided, and they're looking like a team. I don't think they're going to make a bowl, so they're not exactly. They're probably 4 or 5 win team. No, I can't hear you.
No audio.
Nope. Boiler Dowd's gone. He doesn't want to. There you go.
Sorry. So the radio guy on Golden Black said their goal was to get 9 or 10 wins this year, and I was like, I haven't looked at their schedule that hard, but I don't think
Oregon
so.
State.
Oregon State. Yeah.
I don't know about that one.
That's great.
So I got to tell you, Anish, I am almost the exact opposite on this scheme. I am not a believer that this can work at Purdue as I sit right now. And I think if he stays stubborn on this is going to be the thing that he rides out of town. I think it's that bad.
maybe with this roster.
With this roster, how are you going to get the roster much better than it is this year?
I think the recruiting class. I mean, 2 top 30 recruiting classes, especially heavy with defensive backs. I absolutely do think you could, but you need 4 years. And to get 4 years, you've got to be able to adapt.
You got to get past year 3. You got to get past year 2. I mean, this is real. This is not. I don't think this is just fans puffing smoke right now, because I would say if the 1-10, the 2-10, the 1-11 record is a real possibility, and I don't know. Like, and I think it's asinine to say you start talking about firing a coach at two seasons generally, but boy, if they continue the track, like we talk about trends, they continue the track they're on, they're in real danger of just laying an absolute egg for an entire season and losing everybody. It's all about losing the fan momentum. Losing the energy.
I think there was a comment that came up where it was like, you're going to lose recruits. I'm not going to lose. You're not going to lose. I'm not too worried about that because of the way that this staff runs it. But I am afraid of losing the people. I mean, like the full
that Notre
crowd.
Dame game has a cost. That Notre Dame game had a cost, though. That's the thing. Like, that was such a big recruiting day. Right. That Notre Dame has a cost, and we've got a current Purdue student on the air, live on the air today. LBD is here. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Look at that. That your set looks just like a dorm room. That's wild.
Yep. And I'm with a live studio audience here.
Here we go. There's another Dowd there, another Boiler Dowd. That's nephew Boiler Dowd. He's a new character coming to the show. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions, if that's okay, like an interview here for a second.
Sure.
Okay. So what's the energy like on campus for students that are legit football fans like yourself? How do they feel about what we're seeing right now?
I mean, I think it's pretty pessimistic in general. I mean, I was just talking to a friend of mine today, and he's like a very optimistic guy. Like during the bye week. Actually, no, this was even before the bye week. So this was before Notre Dame had played Illinois or anything. He was saying, "Oh yeah, I think they can win like 8 games," which is just crazy.
This is the fun of students.
I love it. He's like very optimistic, and today he was like, "Man, they're not very good."
Well, the student and Anish are kind of similar on that. Yeah. Anish has come over the not very good.
Yeah, and he said, and I asked him what coaching decisions he would make, and he said fire Harrell, and he said that's it. That was what he said. But it's not very good energy.
It's not very good energy. No. So people are asking which dorm you're in. I'm not going to tell them. I'm just going to let them guess for a little while. Okay. So don't tell them. If you can see the comments, you don't need to sound off. We don't need to do that. Yeah. We don't need to do that. People think your name is Little Boiler Dowd. So that's the thing. Like we keep the mystery high here at BS.
I love the bit that LBD, that your sister's name is TBD, just because that's tiny, but also TBD is just funny. It's just very funny to me.
Right. To be determined. We don't know her name. Yeah, exactly. We can't get there. Yeah, LBD has Dowd's hair. That's a good comment. In college, I had decent hair though, so mine was starting to recede by sophomore year. So
you had luscious locks. I mean,
I did.
You pull up the pictures.
Yeah. There's proof. There's a picture of Jay and I with, and there's proof with the. No. For some reason, Anish didn't come to any games with Jay and I when we were in college. So.
That's so weird.
So
I didn't get the invite, guys.
Right, exactly. I mean, you were in town.
The facts must not have gone through.
So the energy is generally negative from many of the people that you're in circles with. One thing, this is the fun thing. Every now and again, LBD will text me and be like, "I just passed Maccabee on campus." I'm like, these are real people.
And then the next day or 2 days later, I think I saw Miles Colvin in the same place. So.
Yeah. And I sent you a picture of Miles Morales from Spider-Man, because that's what I think of. Yeah. Because I think I think Miles Colvin played Miles Morales in Spider-Man. It's uncanny. So first day of practice began today in basketball. How about that end? Are people? Is there a buzz about basketball yet? Or are we not? Are we moving on? Or are we still staying in for the fight for the students on the sporting side?
I know that there's like a little bit. Like I've seen a little bit on like Snapchat and like Instagram, but like it's not really there yet. It's still building.
Okay, all right. So. Well, how's the? how's the ticket search going on for you? I know football, you got all of them.
I mean, basketball.
Basketball, not so bueno, right?
It's hold on. I think explain for the people that don't quite, because I didn't know this until you were telling me this in the first week, the first kind of week of games. How do the tickets work, and why can't you just buy a season pass? This isn't working.
I mean, basically, so you can buy the boarding pass in April of the year before. So basically, to all freshmen, you can't buy it. So basically, it's inaccessible to freshmen.
Right, because you're not fully accepted at that point, right? Isn't that right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, you are accepted to the college, but you don't have access to it. They haven't sent the stuff.
Okay.
So basically, in March or April, sometime around that. Because
when were you accepted? I can't remember that. I really can't.
I think it was January. It was pretty early compared to other ones.
Okay.
Maybe.
Right.
Because I did early action or whatever.
Get that early action.
Yeah, early admission, not early action, because early action you have to accept early.
There's really early action as a term. It's not just okay.
Yeah, no, it actually is. So, but for the tickets, it's like that, and then I had access in the summer to they sent an email. They're like, oh yeah, do this. It's called the passport because you got the boarding pass is the whole thing, and then the passport you can get access to 2 football games, 1 break game, 1 break basketball game, and then all the volleyball games. And
that's a good team. You gotta go see him. Have you gone to see him play yet?
I have not yet. I
suggested. See, Papa Boiler Down right here has suggested one of the girls on the team that LBD should ask out because I say they're schoolmates. I just figure it's just it's school, right? So and I'm not gonna say your roommate's first name because
So I have 2 roommates. And
that's a hint, by the way. If you know anything about the way Purdue dorms work, he got lucky. He got 3 dudes in a 2-man room. So not every dorm got that this year. That's a special treat.
What I was going back to on the tickets is I had the access to a lottery, which I could get 2 games. So not even everyone got those 2 games. And then I bought those. And then later, on, I don't know, it was what was it, August 10th or something? It was early in the year after BGR. Everyone had access to on the one morning. You could all go in and try to buy tickets and buy season tickets as fast as you can, but it's a lot harder.
So you get to go to either Purdue versus Northwestern or a Taylor Swift concert. Those are your options of standing in the internet line.
Yep. But basketball, it's pretty dicey though, right? Really dicey. Looking ahead.
Yeah.
I hear the basketball team was good last year.
What
I
happened?
think they were. That's what I've heard. I've seen.
But you're new on campus, so
I've seen maybe a few, maybe 3 or 4 Final Four shirts on campus. Just a couple.
Just a couple, yeah.
Just a couple, not many at all.
I got to tell you, it's so funny. Anish did this 2 days ago. He said, "Remember way back when Purdue went to the Final Four," and he sent just a picture of the Final Four. And Anish will send us one of those about once every 2-3 weeks, just something that's Final Four related, and just say, "Remember when this happened, guys?" Yeah, it's pretty great. And I can tell you that my good friend Handel Jones, who was on here earlier, he said, how about a palate cleanser? Because we were talking about football, and he sent the link of Painter talking to the team after the championship, which, gosh, it's good. And I said, it's so weird. Little details in that video, just still blow my mind because I know they didn't win the championship. Naysayers, all of you that are on here.
You know what they say at Alabama?
What?
Let a naysayer know.
That is what they say. I saw that on ESPN too. That's right. I saw that. Yeah. That was the best. It's great.
I've said multiple times that I fell in love with Joe Galloway on that set.
Yes.
Because he's always he doesn't say much interesting, kind of bland analysis.
Right.
He was so funny. He was like, "You were too smooth with that, Reese." Because I thought it was going down. It's like, oh my God.
It's so good.
Me.
So
the
good.
way he was. Oh,
he's a lot better than Desmond Howard in that type of setting, I think. Galloway is.
I guess.
I like Galloway there. I think he's better than Howard. So, my
favorite was that Reese didn't know what they thought it meant. You can see Reese's face.
Or he's a perfect straight man.
No, I think
he's watching look off camera and he's trying to piece it together. And then he's kind of repeating it. Like, he's like, what did I miss? It's great. Watch
He
it again.
knows. He knows.
No, he does not. Watch it now thinking of that, and you'll be like, oh, no, he doesn't.
Really?
Yes. He doesn't break. He doesn't realize it.
Maybe he's just a great actor. I guess
I don't think so.
That's a stretch.
I think he's a nice, innocent boy.
Right. That's good.
He's a nice guy.
Speaking of nice, innocent boys, you got anything to close out with here, LBD? Appreciate you coming on. Is there anything that as you look ahead to the Nebraska game, you're really excited to see?
I mean, it's always exciting. It's always exciting to see Devin Mockabee run the ball. So
okay, good.
There we go.
Yeah, and we didn't get. That's the thing that I said in my post game. I don't know if you tuned in, but that's the thing. Like, at least we had something to enjoy. That was a hell of a game. Right? 168 yards.
The friends you see,
friends we made along the way.
You guys probably already discussed this, but we did miss less tackles this week than last week.
Yeah,
so that was an improvement.
This is good.
So
LBD, I'm going to ask you a question. Somebody asked a long time ago in the margin. I just want to hear your straight, because I didn't ask these guys this. I didn't bring attention to the question. I don't know who asked the question. Is Dylan Thieneman a really good football player, or he's just a garbage man? Is he a guy just collects the trash?
I think he's a good football player. He's not as good as I think he was made out to be last year.
Okay.
I mean, he's still a great athlete. I know, because like he went to high school near us, and I know he ran at least the 400. I know that, and he ran.
Oh, he's an athlete. He's an athlete.
He's a great athlete. Yeah. I mean, he is.
By all accounts, he's like top 3 or 4 fastest dude on the team, and he looks like a beast. Like
return punts. That's not for no reason. Even though I don't agree with the decision or anything. It's not for no reason that he's back there. I mean, he's got to be somewhat.
Well, and did you see that one that he caught over his shoulder?
Yeah.
Flying back like.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that's almost more evidence there. He doesn't need to play 25 yards deep. He can get back fast.
Right. Right.
Oh man.
Yeah. By the way, Handel Jones says Reese is from Alabama. He most definitely knew, Jay. So this is something we're gonna have to ask Reese Davis himself to settle. But I
don't think he'd give you a straight answer.
He wouldn't.
He would not.
He'd give Jay a straight answer, because they'd be at some upscale coffee, some party, it'd be like cocktail party in their tuxedos, just rich guys just rubbing elbows, just doing what they do.
Yeah, I have to take off my tuxedo for this show because I don't want to. I'm very uncomfortable.
Yeah, this is awful. I feel so stuffy in this quarter zip. Every day it's bow ties. Every day, sometimes a top hat if it's raining. He uses a top hat for weather reasons, not like you do, LBD. So, all right. Well, hey, you have any other thoughts? We're gonna let you go. No, he's got a top hat.
He looks like Mr. Peanut.
He does. That's awesome.
I just haven't waited. I mean, are
you gonna do some magic now?
Actually, that was cousin Boiler Dad. That was
nephew.
I also have this.
You look like you're about to. You look like you're about to pickpocket someone on the streets of 1931.
Is this better?
Exactly. Yeah.
Buy me the biggest goose in all of London.
Chimney
That's
is
great.
what you look like.
That's great. Man. Well,
study.
Yeah, go study. I know you got a lot to do. Great for you to come on. Thanks for checking in.
I'm actually not gonna study today. What I was gonna do is I'm gonna go to the co-rec. So
you're late according to your normal schedule. It's usually 10 p.m. You're heading out.
About 10 p.m. So
okay, yeah. College is different. Jay and Nish, I know you guys are already yawning. This guy's just getting started, just getting cranking. He 10 p.m. is co-rec time, and it's either basketball or lifting, and he's also doing bicycle club stuff. And so long days and nights. He eats dinner at 9. So.
Yeah. Today I didn't go to dining hall. I went to Chipotle. So
I usually eat dinner at 6. You know this, LBD, my schedule. I have a snack at 4, take a nap, eat dinner at 6, another nap, wake up, kind of a big dessert, watch something on TV, nap, then wake up, wash my face, brush my teeth, back to bed for the night.
The only problem with that is you never eat dinner at 6 pretty much. It's always like 7:30.
Right. None of that's true. We know that. That's true.
No.
So, yeah. But I used to have a schedule like yours, though. That's the wild thing. And your grandmother is in awe of it. She's got her darn notifications turned on. What's that stupid app where you
Oh, Life 360.
Life 360, and she's
she's
literally. It was bing. Oh, it looks like LBD's on the move, and I'm like, you don't have notifications on. What are you doing? This is nosy. That's wrong. So
no, it like asks you to when you get an app to her credit. So
by the way, Handel just figured something out.
Yeah,
we have LBD, we have TBD, and then cousin Brown is CBD.
That's you.
That's funny. That's a bad name for that guy too. He is square.
Yeah. A little bit.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, sir, for checking in. Talk to you soon. All right.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Love you, brother.
The beat from the streets.
Yeah, it's a good segment. Tell us, sound off in the comments if you like the LBD beat. That was totally off the cuff. We didn't have hard to believe, Jay. We didn't write a script for this one.
That wasn't planned.
Wild. I got a text. He said, "Can I come on?" I was like, "What?" So that was out of left field. That was fun. So yeah, CBD is puffing smoke. That's so funny.
Nice.
Handel Jones has been hitting home runs recently. Dude's clever. All right.
He always brings it.
He does.
So let's just cut to the chase here. We're at an hour, so I'd like to spend as little time talking about Purdue football as possible. So let's do it. Let's predict it. I want to know
this week.
Weekend? Yeah.
Is the current spreads like under 10
It keeps
points?
getting bigger. I heard.
Well, that's no surprise.
I think it opened.
Hang on.
I think it opened not enough, like
it's
not
9.5. It's only 9.5 right now.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm sorry. It opened at 9.5. It's currently 10.
I will take Nebraska there.
Yeah. You think so? They just lost. By the way, guys,
we're getting everybody's get right game.
I know a loss is a loss. They just lost by 17 to Oregon State. That's a lot of points, guys.
Yeah,
that's a lot of points. They were a 7.5 point favorite, and they blew past that. So, and I thought 7.5 was a lot. I actually thought Purdue could stay with it.
You don't understand it though, Jay. They just got blown out by a rival. Yeah. And so they were focused. They were ready to play.
Getting blown out makes you focus. For other teams,
well, I can tell you that the team that's going to come into Ross-Ade is going to be fresh off of a loss that they don't think that they should have had.
Yeah,
and that was fun. That was a happy 13.5. That was happy Friday night.
That was fun. So, by the way, Jay, can I ask you a Nebraska question, which everybody came here to?
Please.
It's been too long.
It has been too long. Is your bubbling cauldron of hate towards Nebraska still is bubbling? It feels like it's calming a bit.
Well, I don't.
The further we get away from the Scott Frost thing, right?
Yeah, it's Frost. It was really,
but it
Frost.
wasn't. But remember, I was like this before Frost too. My issue has largely been with Nebraska's. Nebraska football fans are IU basketball fans. They're the same level of weird.
I agree with that.
I
agree with that.
Something 35 years ago is somehow relevant today. And one of my favorite interactions of the many I've had with them was, I think, a year and a half ago, something like that. I think it was a year ago. I said, some guy was getting mouthy, and I said, whose last 5 years would you take, Purdue or Nebraska? And they were like, oh, Nebraska. I was like, you guys haven't been to a bowl in 5 years. Like, Purdue's 2 9-win seasons in there. They beat Tennessee in a bowl game.
Purdue beat an SEC team in a bowl game.
Yes. And they were in the Big Ten championship. Yeah. Like, stop. That's not so. If you say that, you're just completely disingenuous.
Right.
And that's perfect for them. That they can't even acknowledge that the last 5 years hasn't been good. They haven't been bowl eligible, I think.
Cobra has a great thing from Nebraska that I'm sure bothers you.
Oh,
can't handle their fake
Do they still have that? I thought they let that go, Cobra.
I don't think they let it go. They
were giving away or $1 tickets or some crap when it was really bad.
Yeah.
I thought they finally had to announce that it ended. But yeah, I mean, I don't dislike Rule at all, really. Mm-hmm. I don't have any real issue with him. He's just a football coach, and he's not. I don't know.
He's not bad. He's a
good coach. He's not a bad guy.
Was he? Where was it? Baylor?
He was at Baylor after he put Baylor together after
he's put like 3 programs.
Was it Temple then Baylor? Or no, not Temple.
Yeah,
was it JMU or was it Temple?
No, Temple, because it was because he was expected to be the Penn State guy if Franklin ever left. And so it was Temple, then Baylor after what's his name, rampant sexual harassment and horrifying things in that.
Briles.
Briles, thank you.
Briles, yeah.
What a horrible job to take over, right? And that shows you his chops. I mean,
the first year he won one game, and then I think they immediately went to a bowl afterwards.
Yeah. He has one mediocre year, and then he comes and wins, and that's
respectable. I mean, it's perfect fit for Nebraska, which is punch you in the face, it stylistically in terms of punch you in the face, the style of it.
But I don't think
their expectations are.
Yeah, they're not going to be an 11-win team, and that's what they expect there. That's still delusional.
They're not going to be there this year.
No,
I think they can
not
get
this
there.
Year.
I think give them 2 years. Give them 2 years. To me, there's a very linear path. It looks like to me that, especially with their quarterback, I think he has amazing potential to be the best in the Big Ten.
They had quarterbacks in there that all were good. Remember, they had a lot of good quarterbacks.
Martinez. My favorite law firm.
But they never maximized. Now, I guess that's coaching. That's poor coaching.
Yeah.
And if Rule had those guys, it would be fine.
Wait, you saying a system makes a difference?
I think maybe.
Sorry, Anish. I'm sorry. I'm using these terms.
No,
and you pointed this out before that
you've got to be flexible within it. That's the other thing is that you don't, when you come in, you don't insist. You teach the system, and then you're flexible with it, and then over time you can get more and more strict, right? And then once everybody's bought in and built for it, then you release it a little bit, and then they can get creative with it,
right?
And that's the fatal flaw here wasn't necessarily Harrell, though I think all of us are done with him. I think we aren't ready to bail on even the pass catchers. We're not ready to bail on this roster and the talent that he's put together. Right. But it's the scheme behind it. And at this point, the offensive scheme to me is the one that's there's got to be something that happens. But like you said on the quick cast immediately after the game, there's nobody in house. Was the big
nothing. There's no place to go, and I analyzed that further. By the way, and there's not a guy. There's not a guy in the staff that you could say, "Yep, promote him."
It would have to be somebody, and there's no analyst. We don't have any kind of external analyst that is just hanging around.
It has to be Kennard. That's the funny thing. The running back coach, just because of his record of what he's done, he's developed running backs, and they produced. There isn't another coach on staff that I'd elevate, and the age of these guys, I can't get over it. Because they're young, the resumes are not that long. And so you're you don't have many people that have called plays, period. Mm-hmm. You have staffs right now in the Big Ten that have 4 guys on staff that have called plays at some point, right? And so, man, it's a tough position Walters has put himself in by making these hires.
When Harrell is your most decorated play caller by a lot.
Yeah. Can we, how about this? Is this too much, or is this a whole nother? It's probably a whole nother show, and I think we could actually tidy it up right now. We can talk about this later. But Anish has actually started.
I've got the list, baby.
So can we talk about the offensive coordinator list quickly? Can we do that? I'm sure we'll wrap it up in 5 to 7 minutes.
Yes, absolutely. I'm fine with that. You want a list? You want to spend time talking about a list? How about me?
I know. Do you have, Anish, because we talked a bit about this, and he asked us if we wanted to see it early. We've only seen one person on the list from what I understand.
Can you tell me the one person that's on the list that is at the top of my list? But I know that you have a little bit of Bob Stitt. No, shout out to Bob Stitt. I totally forgot Bob Stitt existed, and he's currently Texas State's OC. Man, if we hire Bob
Stitt, get him.
You can get him. He gets paid $250,000 a year right now.
That would be awesome. Yeah, that dude is a wild.
Graham Harrell's $900,000 right now.
Not good value, I would say.
You say poor value for money.
Poor value for money. Yes. Dino Babers is at the top of my list. Arizona offensive coordinator.
And we debated this. Anish and I debated this.
And it's
I've backed away. And here's the first off. You know this. How can you not like Dino Babers? But my whole thing is the last stop. There wasn't enough offensive production, so I move him out right away. So if I have veto power on this list, I veto Dino Babers. Do I have veto power? Can I do that?
We'll see. It's group veto power.
Okay.
We'll see. How deep do you want to go? Because we can give the whole list away.
Let's go 5. Let's go 5 tonight.
Or do we want to save? Okay, we can.
Let's go 5.
We'll do the biggest names that will likely not happen. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and then
yes, I do.
The meat of this, this list goes 25 deep. So we can, the meat of this, where it's the actual people that we can probably aim at, is good. These are various levels of ridiculousness here, and then maybe we'll end on one that I think is a realistic possibility. Dino, I actually do think is real. Arizona connection, but he's only been there 1 year. He's got a West Lafayette connection. He does. Considering how short of a stint he had at Purdue, like he seems every time he played Purdue, like he seems to have a real affinity for the place. And so I do think that it is gettable. And to me, it's not necessarily just the offense, though Arizona has a decent offense so far, even though they've not played anyone. It's that, like, how do you be a head coach? It's just having a guy on staff to be head coach. Mm-hmm. You're talking about wild card. How about Dan Mullen?
Oh, that's good.
Now, he's probably going to want a head coach somewhere, but he hates recruiting.
I know a place. Wait, sorry.
He hates recruiting, so I don't want him as Purdue's head coach because he is not.
Sorry.
That is where things fell apart, brother. Like at Florida, he just did not want to play any part of recruiting, and I don't think
what did he do at Mississippi State? He must have recruited there.
He was good there, man.
He recruited enough, but he schemed people up. I don't think that works in the Big Ten or SEC anymore. You need talent. So I think he's perfect for one of those two conferences just outside.
Oh, hold on a second. If you could manage to get him on staff
as OC, I'd take it.
No, listen. And if he doesn't like recruiting, you've got all these young, hungry dudes that are going out and recruiting the hell out of there.
On the recruiting trail?
Let's go. Let's go. I'm telling you.
Mind it.
Let's do it. Let's make that deal. Right now, he's on TV. Pick up the phone, Anish. We can make all this stuff happen. You know people. Jay knows everybody. And just pick up the phone, guys. Start networking. Let's make the Harrell nightmare go away, and let's save Walter's time at Purdue. Let's make it happen. Let's do it tonight.
You want to go even more wild card. Dana Holgerson is TCU advisor. He is not.
Holy crap! These are good.
Dana Holgerson.
I love Dana Holgerson as an OC. I love it.
Why did Holgerson? He was at Houston. Did they can him?
He's canned, baby.
Yep.
So they canned him last year. He's a Texas guy. He stayed down.
All these guys with that consultant title, they're ripe for the picking.
By the way, Holgerson's only 53. How crazy is that?
Somebody in the margin says Stitt is retired. Stitt is 11 years older than me. He's not that old.
It looks like he's 60, but it looks like he's not coaching anymore. He's not at Texas State. He went there. He just coached.
You don't think we could coax him out? You don't think we could? I think we could do it.
Is he not currently Texas State's OC?
No, not currently. I misread that.
We can definitely raise his pay. He's a wacko. I love him so much.
Yes, I do too. I do too.
I love him so much.
Yeah.
So do we want? Give me a level of this. We can go young guy. We can go retread, or we can go interesting. That like.
Do we have time to do all three? Because now you've piqued my interest. This is like TV tricks. I love it.
We'll get into it when the news actually happens. If and when the news.
So how many have you given me? You've given me 3 so far. I want 5, so you can decide.
I've given you 4. I've given you 3. You're right.
That's a hilarious one. Though.
But then Bob Stitt is Bob Stitt.
Okay.
And if you want,
give me one more. I want one more. I want one more.
Okay.
I want intrigue.
You want intrigue? Okay. I've got intrigue for you.
Okay.
There was a man that used to be a head coach of 2 programs, and has a connection to Ryan Walters when he was at Memphis.
Okay. This is what I was talking about. Relationships matter.
He's a former head coach.
Okay.
To mixed reviews, but mostly because he couldn't recruit.
Okay.
He was at Memphis, and he was at, I'll give you the second school later, and he was an analyst at Indiana University last year. Ladies and gentlemen, former Virginia Tech head coach Justin Fuente is available and not doing anything. If you want a guy...
He's just sitting on a big chair made of money is what he's doing.
He's just chilling on a beach.
Just chilling, brother.
Why wouldn't you want to leave a beach and take $1 million to go coach Purdue's quarterbacks and wide receivers and scheme them up? I mean, I'm not entirely kidding. Getting a guy that is just there that also already
he's
took a job.
He's young too, right?
He's young. He already took a job in Indiana. He was successful at one at Memphis, and he was unsuccessful at Virginia Tech. The main thing that killed him at Virginia Tech was recruiting.
Right.
This is not a recruiting position.
This
staff
good.
is already
According to Wikipedia, he's
literally just sitting. What do you say? What's he doing? He's still at IU.
Wikipedia, he's still in it.
So I checked with sources. And sources said no. Justin Fuente was just there for the last year of Tom Allen. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So
it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
But he was an IU advisor. He knows that Indiana's a state.
Here's what I'm going to do, guys. Here's what I'm going to do. Like I said, both of you guys can make this happen because you're well connected. I'm gonna let you decide. I do this at restaurants too. I'll say, do you want the chicken quesadilla or do you want the what I just have? I had some bruschetta pasta. Which one do you like? Which one do you like? And I'll say, don't tell me. You just bring me out what you like, because the waitress or waiter, if they like it, it's pretty good. I'm going to say it this way. You guys can decide between those last two. Okay. I'm just going to let you go. And tomorrow I want a surprise. In the morning, I want press releases and everything's. I can't wait, guys. This is going to be so much fun.
What if Graham Harrell's mom is on this tonight? Won't you feel bad?
Nah. He's a very wealthy guy from stealing the last couple of years. Working hard the last couple of years. Sorry. Graham Harrell also had a cup of coffee in the NFL, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I get the idea. Here's the thing I get from Graham Harrell. I get that he's a pretty decent guy and he's a pretty simple man.
Great dude.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, he probably doesn't spend way past what he makes. I don't see that from him. He's wearing the same.
Well invested in a Roth IRA.
I think he's doing fine. Okay. I think all these guys are doing great and they've had a good run. And guess what? He'll find another job too. I really believe that. I don't think he's done anything to damn himself. He won't be an OC, I don't think, in a Power 5 conference, but maybe he'll be a quarterback's coach someplace.
I think he'll definitely get it.
Hell, I know that never happens where you demote a guy and give him a lower pay. Say, well, you can stay at quarterback coach. We got young guys coming up, man.
Totally.
We like it. We don't dislike you as a person. We just hate your offense.
Can I tell you about this guy's charmed life? Not only has he already at 39 been the OC for North Texas, USC, Southern Cal, West Virginia, and Purdue.
Yeah.
You know, he's also a Super Bowl champion. That guy has a Super Bowl ring.
Who do you win a ring with?
Yeah, that's a question for you. Who do you win a ring with, Anish? You're never going to get this.
I got to guess.
Okay. I'm thinking about when his college career was.
Yeah,
he wasn't a backup for the. Oh man, was he a Steeler?
Nope.
Okay.
You're not far off though. In fact, he beat the Steelers in the Super Bowl.
What was he on the Packers? Was he a backup quarterback on the
Packers?
Backup
on the Packers.
How about that? Packers ring? What a life,
Packers,
man!
Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, oh wow, that's a rare one.
Yeah, that is wow.
Graham Harrell has a Stanley Cup ring. You didn't know that, did you?
Yeah.
Whatever. Hockey's starting soon. Everything's.
That's the thing. I think he is going to be a Power 5, or not Power 4, Power 2, whatever we want to call it, coordinator again. Yeah, I mean, but then the other thing is I don't mind if he's a quarterback's coach, I would be happy with that. But the play calling and the scheming right now, and that's the thing we've seen. Seth Luttrell he's on my list. He's currently Oklahoma's OC. That's not happening.
That's not going to happen. Yeah.
But when they were at North Texas together, that was the offense that worked. That was when it was like those two together was. For 3 years it was really, really good. Right. And that's kind of what has led to a lot of stuff afterwards, but we've just not seen it. So I don't know if it's a combination of head coach, quarterback, scheme, receivers there, or I don't know, maybe just the USC, West Virginia, Purdue didn't have the same pieces. I don't know.
Which one of you guys is having a Scud missile coming in at you?
Air raid sirens are happening.
Exactly. This is not good.
Yeah,
it's not good.
We're getting bottled, brother.
That's a time. I love your timely references. A Scud missile.
Yeah.
The first Gulf War they were used.
Exactly. One of the worst weapons ever, by the way. Just really throw heavy things at people.
I have one more Graham Harrell trivia for you.
Hey, Scott Frost is available, by the way.
What?
Scott Frost is available as OC. Speaking of Nebraska Hate Week.
I wouldn't let him sweep.
So is Charlie Weiss. Charlie Weiss is available. That's one I thought of today.
Do you guys know?
Oh boy,
how close can you get to Graham Harrell's NFL career passing yardage total?
Oh, that's a great one.
In real games, there's no preseason mixed in.
Correct. This is just regular season games.
I'm going to say 275.
I'll go over. I'll go 736.
You guys are both over.
This is no! Is it going to be like 57?
20.
Oh, that's the most hilarious answer.
2 for 4 for 20 yards and 1 for
good.
That's funniest answer.
I'm not disparaging the man for the record on this. I am not.
He
played NFL quarterback. He's got a Super Bowl ring. He's been everybody's offensive coordinator. He's made tons of money. I'm not disparaging for any of these.
He's a rich, handsome, successful, and by all accounts, really kind person.
Yeah. So none of that. I just do not like his offense at all.
20 yards is the funniest amount of yards to have in
so
a career.
Good.
I don't think that there was a funnier answer than that. Thank you.
That's awesome. Did Jason
How do you
say
even get 20 yards? Like if you come in
completed 2 passes
a game?
That's it. He played in
I like that Jason Ringer said 57 yards because I think that's a reference to this last game, which is awesome.
According to this, he played in 4 games, but he only attempted 4 passes. Good. So
well, that's so he how many seasons was he in the league? 2?
Or just he's only listed as being in games in 1 year. The other time, because I don't think Rodgers never sat down.
Right.
Well, right. But Pro Football only gives you when he had actual stats.
Yeah.
That's 2012. So,
yeah.
I do like that though. Hey man, it's more than I played.
Oh,
okay. Cool. I got one last request. I know I'm lying already. I want to hear your retread because retreads to me are the worst, and I know they are to you too. You really don't like retread.
Okay.
I want to hear this.
Okay. You want the funniest retread?
Yes.
Got it. I laughed out loud when I realized that this name exists.
He's available. That's a good one on the side.
A former head coach of an SEC team.
Yeah.
He was a part of the Nick Saban School for Wayward Coaches.
Yeah.
Rehabilitation clinic.
Sarkisian. Steve Sarkisian.
He was an offensive.
That's the greatest success story.
He was an offensive coordinator at the same school that Ryan Walters was at some point in his career. So he has crafted an offense opposite Ryan Walters' defense.
Mm.
And he is available currently.
It's the old Mizzou head coach. That's what you think.
Gary Barnett.
Ladies and gentlemen, Derek Dooley is available.
No
Derek Dooley.
Way. No. It's not funny at all.
It's hilarious.
I should have given you Fuente and Derek Dooley and Dana Holgerson as like but just blind resume. Pick one of them.
Exactly.
Dooley has no resume. He was terrible at Tennessee.
Yeah.
He was bad.
Terrible.
He wasn't. I mean, like the Mizzou offense was.
Is Dooley the one with the clip about the when they're eating?
The asparagus? No, that's the dip wad who came several coaches after him.
Oh my gosh, it's one of the best clips ever.
What's that?
It's Pruitt.
It's asparagus. What? Like, oh my God.
Is that Pruitt? Is that Handle
Jeremy
Jones?
Pruitt. Thank you.
Another
Handle Jones.
Another Saban disciple who.
It's the greatest clip ever. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's good.
Abjectly stupid.
Yes.
Just so stupid. And you put him in charge of your football program. It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
There's the list. We got a lot more on the list, but I'm not going to reveal it until we actually have an opening that we're talking about, or Graham Harrell gets the offense or gets the
okay. Gut feeling.
Job.
Gut feeling. Does anyone on the coaching staff of any significance lose their job this season?
No, not during the season.
That is bleak.
Man. I could see a demotion.
It didn't happen the last 2 weeks, guys.
I think to your promotion or to your point, I think a demotion and giving somebody else play calling duties is more likely than an outright firing because of who is on staff. That's a great point.
Yeah, I
mean, literally, I can't find a guy that's called plays other than in high school. That's That's what my research says. And I can be wrong. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments, in the margins. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me there's a guy on staff that's called plays, please. And I'll be okay. I want to be wrong.
Yep, and like Purdue doesn't even have an analyst, like affiliated with them or anything like that.
Because usually those guys are the ace in the hole, right?
Exactly, and that's the one that says, "Hey, come on, like take over play calling duties," and then Graham Harrell goes to the sidelines and is the coach on the sidelines and whatever. But like, yeah, I don't see it. I don't see a way for it. Yeah. So I see a way for a demotion and play calling duties given to someone else, but I don't think a firing is happening. Just because.
How about this? Anish and I were bouncing back ideas back and forth, and they said, "When's the last time a guy got fired in the middle of the season and it turned out good overall for the program?" Right? Like, I mean, not even that season, because I think you're scrambling at that point. You're just trying to hope to get a couple wins and get some interest. But I mean, the next season it was good. I'm not talking about the off-season firing and you go out and you get the right guy for the job. You're like, okay, we've learned, we're going to go get the guy. That happens. Anish said, and he's right. That happens. I just want to know when this has happened. That's probably one
of the issues. Coach? You mean like an assistant?
An assistant.
An assistant in season. And I'm sure it's happened, but it's like that. It's never really a good sign.
Right.
The in-season firing.
Yeah.
And the guy that takes
it's a
over.
Horrible sign, but this is a horrible position Purdue's in right now.
But Walter sounds very committed. I'm not going to change just because we got whipped. He said that a couple weeks ago.
And he said something similar, just kind of repackaged it, I would say, again.
Not changing the scheme, he said in a press conference, I believe.
And he said things about blocking out the noise and keep doing what you're doing and getting back to it.
I got on that on Twitter. That bothered me. I don't like that, because when you start doing the whole, you're going to have to block out a lot of noise. My problem with that is, Purdue fans are coming out in force to support this team. So don't start turning it into, fans, we have to push that out of it. Stop it. Like the noise you guys created on your own?
Truly 4.5 wins and be interesting, and we're fine.
A low bar.
It's not really that, like, we're not very demanding. Now, come basketball season, all of that sanity goes away.
But the bar's different, Anish.
It's different.
By the way, Jason Ringer brings up an NFL job, by the way. You can't, NFL doesn't count. NFL, the rules are different in the NFL. You've got a different sort of structure. You've got much better resources in the NFL to make that happen.
More qualified people to put in those roles.
Right. But like here I got another one. So like, I know some of you is not on your list, Anish, but I don't think Doug Downing is coaching right now, but he's a Purdue guy who's an offensive minded guy. He was in the MAC, I believe, at one point, but that's a guy you'd say, hey, can we call Doug Downing and plug him in? Right. I mean, like, it's asinine. It'll never happen. It's not going to happen. I'm completely aware.
So this is the most that I will say, and maybe we can end after this.
Sure.
But maybe the best thing to do is ride out this season with Hudson Card. You okay? Is everything falling?
I'm sorry. Did I distract you?
We've all had one.
Somebody falling down the stairs. We had an air raid siren, and
so now we've all done it.
Cats, a herd of cats in the background.
There's no cats
fighting. So the benefit of just sticking with it is that this year is what it is. You ride it out with Card and with Harrell, but what you're doing is not necessarily like pulling the ripcord and doing it. You have backing for at least one more year, likely 2 more years, but unless next year kind of goes on the rocks, from your athletic director, and you are waiting for a head coach. You're waiting for a head coach that is an active head coach right now, that would be a good candidate to take the job, to get fired, and so that Purdue can hire them in the offseason. That wouldn't be available to you right now. That's the only preview of the list, the feasible part of this that I will give you. There is a way to spin this to make it like you are not kind of panicking and making this move, but you are also kind of acknowledging that, you screwed up. There is no kind of veteran on the staff. But what's the best move right now? Is it to bring somebody that's sitting on the sidelines somewhere, to bring Bob Stitt sitting from the sidelines just to call plays? Or is it just let the season ride out and wait for a certain head coach of a program to get fired, and then you hire them? So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, I would love to not be having this conversation for the record. I would love for things to be better. That we were just like, yeah, things are awesome, man. All those West Virginia fans were wrong. Man, Harrell kicks ass.
They were not wrong.
We're not wrong. And that I know a lot of people and Anish and others have all mentioned this. It's stupid to jump into the Darrell Hazel comparisons right away for many reasons, because the biggest reason though is the amount of wins that Walters had the first season.
Already
that is
shown.
Right away. You're like, okay, it's different. Okay. But the parallel with Shoop and Harrell may be a really, really good one.
That I'd be fine with that. The big thing, I think the biggest thing that has annoyed me, and maybe we'll lead off next week's show with this, because we probably should have led off this week. Darrell Hazel has become the Purdue shorthand for a normal bad team. Darrell Hazel was not a normal bad Purdue team.
No.
Darrell Hazel was the literal worst 4 years in the entire history of Purdue football by every single measure. Advanced analytics, wins and losses, all of it. 50 games
and just the eyeball test, right? Everything was there.
And the eyeball test. There's
all
nobody comes in.
Recruiting, everything.
Recruiting was bad.
Gosh.
Yeah. So if you want to say this is closer to Akers, this is Coletto, this is even Hope. I'd say Hope is the average Purdue coach. Like, that is your Mendoza line. You've got to be better.
Yeah, Hope and Burtonette are pretty similar. Yeah.
So those I'm perfectly willing to engage in. Ryan Walters already showed a 4-win season, a top 30 recruiting class, and shaping up to be maybe another top 30 kind of recruiting class this year, if he closes this one out. And it's like this, it's leaps and bounds kind of different. That being said, it's not saying that it's acceptable. That's not saying it's even good. But the comparison to Darrell Hazel is really, really lazy.
Yeah.
And like we can do better, but it probably is just because Darrell Hazel was the last bad coach of the last 25 years, right?
But when you say, but I think that that tweet that I sent to you guys that started this whole conversation of us going back and forth this morning. When you compare to Hazel, my whole thing is, when you say something's as bad as Hazel, that's real bad. I think everybody that, right? If I brought in a Coletto thing, you'd be like, eh? Like, I don't think, those of us who lived through the Coletto era on campus see it maybe a little bit different. I think students, that's like LBD and CBD. I hope that doesn't stick. Yeah. But the students, it stings a little bit worse, because you're like, man, they made me mad, right? I can remember, for me, it's like I left the game early for the first time ever. I never did that in high school. Came to Purdue, third game, Matt Pike sucked versus Wisconsin. I left the game, and so that stuff, it gets in the students' craw a little bit. But if you say Coletto, Akers, whatever, all these, they're not Darrell Hazel.
I worry a little bit. Anish made a comment about another good recruiting class. I worry about a really, really painful season affecting not just recruiting but talent, losing talent. I just,
so for next year, you're looking at the longer view.
Yeah.
How about this one here? I know Anish.
I think the strength of this coaching staff is getting the younger guys to buy in and getting the players.
Yeah, but don't you lose the buy-in when you get absolutely smoked?
I don't think so. Like, he is a player's coach, right? This is a player's coaching staff. I am more afraid of the enthusiasm behind the program.
How about this one, Anish? Right. How about this one? This is a little deeper into this equation. What do you think about if we have another offseason of attrition like we've had the last two? Because that's hard on a program to constantly, right? So but you're saying losing I thought you were saying losing the classes. You're saying losing the guys.
I'm saying losing talent, because guys are like, I don't want to be part of a 2-10 team.
That's a concern for me.
Maybe that's not a concern, because that's not how recruiting works.
Yeah, but you get playing time in the Big Ten. I mean, like, to me, like that's the reason to stay. And the other part of this is that next season's roster is not. We'll talk about this, but like next season's roster doesn't quite have the blue chips that were Scorton and Burks, right? Like, those were blue chip recruits that are tearing it up right now.
And Burks is hurt. Right.
He's just
flirting with injury. So.
But like they were starters and featured players at Oklahoma and A&M, right?
Yeah.
next year's Purdue roster is going to be contingent on a lot of people, a lot of young, promising talent emerging and stepping up. And that's where it's like, I'm not terribly concerned there, but you've got to earn year 3. You've got to earn year 4. And and you've got to do it in a way where the opener next year is not going to be half empty. Like, that's what I'm afraid of. And
that's what, that's my whole thing. I keep coming back to that. Fan interest, donor interest, whatever, with that stuff, when that starts to wane, the people that make decisions feel that, and they notice it, and that's gonna be the whole thing.
Yeah.
Season tickets are already sold out. The student energy has been excellent. I mean, like they're not like the students were when Jay and I were on campus. I don't know about you, Anish, there was no name for the Ross-Ade Brigade then.
The brigade was right about when we were there at like our last year.
When Jay and I were there, it's like people students were like, all right, I'm done. And I was like, I kept going because I'm a glutton for punishment. And Jay went to just as many games as I did.
We had the Hope years, and the last year I was there, the last year of Tiller. And so Danny Hope was interesting, if nothing else. Like,
very interesting.
That's what we said, yeah.
And so it's like, and you had talent. Like there was Kerrigan on on the team. Like there were good, exciting players,
fast guys on the outside.
And so for the first 2-3 years, I was there for 3 years. Like undergrad was 3 years of Hope. The first 3 years were fine, but you are right, it did kind of wane. And that's the thing in this era. You don't get I think even Bomani Jones was talking on his podcast that the Big Ten is a little bit more patient than other leagues when it comes to their coaches. And we wonder if that kind of holds, he even brought up Purdue stuck by Darrell Hazel for 4 years and he was awful. It was funny hearing Spencer Hall and Bomani Jones last week talking about Darrell Hazel and Purdue. But like they used it as an example of like Purdue of the Big Ten
go to Illinois,
really patient. Sorry.
Where'd Bomani go to school?
Sal, I think he's he went to HBCU and Clark.
Okay.
He went to Clark.
Okay. All right.
Clark in Atlanta. And then Spencer is a Florida guy.
UF, yeah.
But like, the big thing here is that in the new Big Ten and the new SEC, even for schools like Purdue, you've got to show proof of concept within 3 years. And like that becomes the hard line. So no, I don't think that anything. Yeah, I told you guys. I within the realistic possibility, I don't think 1-11 is going to happen. But even then, it's like I don't know if a firing is going to happen. Year 3, you got that's where you have to earn it. And man, don't put yourself in that position. Like Walter's a good dude. Walter, we know he's going to be a good coach eventually. But the thing is, like he's making all of these mistakes right now, and so it's like.
See, I've wavered on the idea that I said there's a possibility of Walters being a very good coach. I said that the other day. If he's going to be a good coach, but I do know he will be a good coordinator. I guarantee he'll be a good coordinator again. Yeah. Like that to me, like.
He's going to go to Tennessee and be the defensive coordinator, and it's going to rocket, and he's going to win a national title at Tennessee or something like that. You know what I mean? Like and he's going to get another job like this, and he's going to apply like all of his learnings. But I don't want that to happen. I want it to happen now. Like,
no, me neither.
He's such a good dude. He's such a good face of a program, and we want him to do it here. But the problem is you can't let these things that could sink you like a lead anchor. Stop.
Here's what I hope for. I hope we get to see him turn this thing around and he becomes good enough where he starts showing a little bit different side of his personality and we can be critical of that. Meaning he's so humble. We started seeing a little bit in the preseason. I started seeing like some things like would annoy him with the media. Some things were said in camp and he'd be like, who said that? Like I remember him talking about a couple different positional things and him kind of coming back at people a little bit, right? So I know he has more there than he should. He's got an edge. He's got an edge,
but that's good.
But he's so self-deprecating right now, and he beats himself up pretty good. And he's one of the only coaches I've ever heard, and we've had Danny Hope even didn't do this. Said I didn't expect that to happen, right? Hope was completely humble, I think, as a coach, and just in awe of the fact that someone wanted to talk to him. a media room. We always said, Jay and I said his favorite thing. Coaches hate the media room, but Hope is just like, oh wow, I get to talk to all these people.
This was Danny Hope's dream job.
Exactly.
He would be smiling when they got smoked by somebody. He would just be up there like, oh, they want to talk to me again. This is great.
Living the dream.
Ruled about Danny Hope.
Yep.
So anyway, well, yeah. So we'll talk to you after we upset Nebraska. It's fine.
That's good. Ed Albanese, the Gummy Bear King of Indiana, says, why is the D underperforming? Generally, that comes with old age, guys. So I'm not going to go any further. Right. I'm just going to, thanks.
Speak to your doctor, Ed.
Talk to your doctor. Okay, that's great. That was awesome. That's a good thing to end it on. We've kept it mostly above board, and we're going to end it on that. I hope you guys have a great evening. Thanks for sticking with us for a little over an hour and a half. We'll be back. I'm going to have a quick cast about basketball, I think, in the next day or so. So, thoughts for you following the Nebraska game. Hammer down. Love you guys. Good night.